AEW Double or Nothing 2021 is in the history books, and did the show deliver? Not only did we see a debut as the Joker in the Casino Battle Royale, but we also saw another debut of a former WWE Superstar. On top of this, we saw Sting in his first in-ring match since 2016, as well as a new champion in AEW. So let's jump into the WrestlePlanet review of AEW Double or Nothing 2021. And just before we get into the review itself, I didn't have time to watch the buy-in show, but I do know that Serena Deeb successfully retained her NWA Women's World Championship against Riho. But let's get to the main show then, as we start with Hangman Page taking on Brian Cage. So the ultimate Page and Cage dream match. And just to note that Taz is on commentary for this one, supporting his Team Taz member, Brian Cage. And this match got the show off to a very solid start, with Page getting some good fire, with Cage playing his role well, slowing the babyface down using his power to turn the momentum. The crowd were massively behind Adam Page for this one, before Starks and Hook got involved, coming out from the back to help Brian Cage, as Starks slid the FTW belt into the ring. Cage refuses to use the weapon and throws it straight back at Starks, but this causes the distraction for Hangman to hit the buckshot lariat for the 1-2-3. It seems that Brian Cage's exit from Team Taz is imminent, with Taz actually burying him on commentary for his decision making, as well as the faction coming to a verbal disagreement in the ring following the pinfall. Then we went into the AEW World Tag Team Championship match, where the Young Bucks defend against Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Gallows and Anderson try to interfere at one point, but are cut off by Kingston and an interfering Kazarian, who helped the babyface team. Matt Jackson uses the ref's distraction to blind Moxley with a hairspray, and they go for a double powerbomb, with Matt doing the Reigns Roar, but are stopped by Moxley before the hot tag to Kingston. To end the match, Moxley kicks out of a double super kick before being hit by repeated BTE triggers, which puts him away for the pin, as the Young Bucks retain. Then we go to the Casino Battle Royale match, which is one of the matches people were most looking forward to, as Paul White makes his way out to the commentary desk to start things off. Of course, this will be a 21-man battle royal. Wrestlers enter in packs of 5 based on the suit they draw, with one Joker entering last on their own. Clubs go first as Christian Cage's music plays, entering as the early favourite, and most fans pick to win. This time around, each wrestler gets their own short entrance back to back rather than all walking out together, and it works so much better than any previous iteration of the Casino Battle Royale. I won't run you through the whole match, as there's 20 eliminations and 20 entrances to cover, but we will skip forward to the bit everyone's interested in, which is the final entrance and the Joker card. Before the countdown to the Joker ends, we see Christian Cage eliminate Powerhouse Hobbs, as 5 remain in the ring. This leaves Christian and Jungle Boy being targeted by Matt Hardy and Private Party in a 3-on-2 attack, which sets up the perfect entrance for a babyface. The surprise ends up being Lio Rush, who evens the odds for the faces and hits some high-flying offense. Not many predicted Rush, including me, who has been competing in MLW and New Japan since his release from WWE in April 2020. Seeing as Rush seems to be under contract with MLW, this caught a lot of people off guard. However, he doesn't last long and is eliminated by Matt Hardy and crew, which is a little bit disappointing, as there was a lot of excitement for the reveal and he barely lasted 2 minutes. However, we do come down to the final 3 with Matt Hardy, Jungle Boy and Christian Cage. Matt Hardy tries to get Christian to work along with him, using their history as a bit of a bridge between the two, but Hardy is swiftly thrown over the top by Christian. The crowd are massively behind Jungle Boy by this point, who are singing his song constantly. Christian is then booed, as many anticipated that he was set for the win, but it looks like they would prefer Jungle Boy. However, Jungle Boy does manage to stay alive and eliminates Christian to a huge pop. The Joker reveal didn't do a lot for me, but it's awesome to see Jungle Boy get a big victory like this, and many didn't see it coming, and it was a solid result overall. Next up, we see a tribute to the US troops, which leads into the patriotic match between Cody Rhodes and Anthony Ogogo. Cody enters, of course, as the American Dream this time around, so the lead in there certainly fits the theme of the match. A tale of the tape is shown on the big screen in a boxing style presentation, with Ogogo, of course, being an Olympic boxer in the past. Cody attempts to use his grappling to prevent Ogogo's striking early on, and overall, Ogogo puts in a good performance for his first big high-profile match. The match goes longer than I thought it would, and Cody eventually picks up the win, which surprised many. It seems that he won't be doing the job to give himself a break just yet, as many predicted, and picks up a big win against one of his students. And I'm looking forward to seeing where Ogogo goes from here, as it looks like he has a lot of potential and certainly has the look required to be taken seriously. Then next up is the Hoss fight between Miedo and Lance Archer for the TNT Championship. They battle it out at ringside to start things off as Miedo is spine busted through a table. Miedo eventually takes control of the challenger as the match is slowed down after a frantic start, with Jake Roberts eventually coming out with snake in hand, and not like that, with Miedo throwing the snake across the entrance ramp to loud boos. Hopefully no animals were hurt in the production of this match, but the match does go back and forth before Miedo makes Archer pass out with the game over, which is a good way of keeping Archer strong because he didn't tap. And by the way, I love the new presentation of Miedo as a serious threat now that he is TNT champion, opposed to the way he debuted alongside Kip Sabian as a jokey gamer character. It certainly works much better now, and he could be on his way to the main event scene pretty soon. Then we go to another championship match as the AEW Women's World Championship is on the line, with Hikaru Shida defending against Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D. Baker enters to a huge reaction as she is arguably the most popular woman in the company. Shida comes out and looks emotional when she sees the packed out arena as she holds back the tears. Will this be Shida's final battle as the champion? Let's find out. The match has an aggressive start to set off a solid, hard-hitting championship match. Dueling Shida and D.M.D. chants fill the arena as the crowd are split right down the middle. Of course, Reba is ringside to assist the challenger as she distracts Shida by holding the championship belt up on the apron. Reba then goes to strike Shida with her crutch, but inadvertently hits Britt in the head, which leads to a pinfall, but Shida can't put the champion away. The distractions continue as Britt hits a curb stomp on the belt behind the referee's back, but Shida kicks out this time. Heavy strikes from Shida lead to another false finish, but Britt manages to catch Shida in a lockjaw as the champion taps out. Baker gets the win to end Shida's record-breaking year-long reign as women's champion. I mentioned this in my predictions, but Britt has really taken her work to the next level following a rocky start in the promotion. You can see why she was chosen as the marquee signing for the women's division early on, and it looks like she's about to lead the division into a new era. Next, we go into the tag team match where Darby Allin and Sting team up against Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Before the match, we see a home video from Darby Allin, who is shown skating before being picked up by Sting in a convertible car. The two ride through the mountains as Sting says, "It's showtime." We get a fast start once again as Darby throws himself through the ropes at his opponents, leading to another ringside brawl. The Icon hasn't missed a step as he and Darby get the early advantage, with Sting even flying off the top of the poker chips, clearly taking on his partner's daredevil mentality. The heels eventually take control of Darby with some good tag team wrestling, leading to a hot tag as Sting fires up. Referee Aubrey Edwards doesn't see it, forcing him back to the apron. In the most insane bump of the night, Ethan Page lifts Darby up above his head and launches him into the crowd as he collides with his brother and takes out the front row. Again, the heels continue the beatdown on Darby as the crowd wants Sting. He eventually manages to get the tag, and this time the referee sees it. Stinger splashes take down Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky as Page kicks out of a pin attempt. Darby wants back in, but it backfires. All four competitors end up in the ring as the legal men get caught up in a submission at the same time, with the referee forced to clear the ring. Sting and Sky are now legal as Scorpio goes for a springboard cutter, which is reversed into an awesome Scorpion Death Drop. A great counter and a great finish. I hope this tag win leads to Sting and Darby making their way up the tag team rankings towards a match with the Young Bucks somewhere down the line, but for now it's just great to see Sting back in the squared circle. And in the semi-main event, we had the AEW World Championship with Kenny Omega defending against Pac and Orange Cassidy in a three-way dance. The winner of this will take on Jungle Boy at some point in the near future after he won the Casino Battle Royale earlier on in the night. This match had an interesting dynamic with two wrestlers known for their high-octane in-ring styles mixed in with Orange Cassidy's laid-back approach. This gave the match the ability to switch paces depending on who was in the ring and in what mood Cassidy was in. More exciting action leads to a Falcon Arrow from Pac onto Omega from the top before Cassidy runs in to steal the pin. He throws Pac outside, only managing a 2 count. The crowd thought it was over as they chant that was free. Pac confronts Cassidy as he gets struck by some lazy kicks, but the bastard isn't having any of it, low blowing Cassidy, who drops to the floor. A Black Arrow is next, but the champion breaks the count. Cassidy comes close again after an orange punch and a beach break on Pac. 2 orange punches later on both men puts Cassidy in prime position to win the belt. He pins Pac, but Don Callis, who is no longer at the commentary table, pulls the referee out of the ring, ensuring that his man doesn't lose the title. Pac locks in the Brutalizer on Orange, the same move that beat him last year at Revolution, but Kenny stomps on both men but can't break the submission. Omega turns instead to the referee and hits him with a double axe handle to the spine. Callis hands him the Impact title before he hits Pac with it. He then hits him again, this time with the AAA belt, the same again with the TNA Heavyweight, and finally with the AEW World title. It looks like it's time for the pin, but Cassidy runs in for one last orange punch as Aubrey Edwards runs out to count the 1, 2 before Omega reverses the fall into a backslide and finally manages to get the win. The Young Bucks and the Good Brothers come out to help the champion to the back as he just about holds on to his AEW World title. It looks like the crowd are ready for an Orange Cassidy World title run, but he couldn't pull it off tonight. But when he does, the reaction is gonna be insane. And before the main event, Tony Schiavone has an announcement regarding the upcoming AEW Rampage TNT show as he reveals a new analyst for the show, and that is the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. Henry then makes his way onto the entrance ramp and it is confirmed that he will speak this Friday on Dynamite. And what do you think of AEW's newest signing? Let me know in the comments below. Next up, AEW chose the Stadium Stampede to main event the show, which saw the Inner Circle take on the Pinnacle in the AT&T Stadium next door to Daly's Place. If the Inner Circle lose, they must go their separate ways. A limo drives onto the pitch as MJF gets out. He then cuts a promo on Jericho saying that it will be the end of the Inner Circle. Judas plays on the speaker system as the Inner Circle are on top of the scoreboard in the stadium before they are lowered down on cables. The Inner Circle run at MJF as he retreats to the limo. A truck shows up carrying the rest of the Pinnacle as the fight begins on the field with MJF still hiding. Eventually MJF sneaks out of the limo, but Jericho is waiting behind him. The two face off as they start to exchange punches before MJF tries to escape as they end up in the corridor of the arena. They end up coming across the coaches of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who hand Jericho footballs to throw at MJF, and the brawl continues throughout the arena. After we see Jake Hager and Wardlow fight in a freezer, Sammy Guevara and Shawn Spears fighting in a room full of chairs, Santana, Ortiz and FTR fighting in a bar with a cameo from Conan, and finally seeing MJF and Jericho fight in the Jaguars offices, MJF is dragged dragged out to the Daily's Place crowd. Friedman tries to throw Jericho off the balcony, but he's reversed and powerbombed through a wooden box. Guevara and Spears end up back in the arena as Sammy runs his opponent over with a golf cart, which is of course a reference to the Inner Circle's feud with Matt Hardy. The action ends up in the ring as Spears and Sammy go one-on-one. The chairman takes control, but Sammy kicks out of a devastating chair shot to the head. Sammy then eventually turns it around, pinning Spears after a 630 senton. The Inner Circle stay together as the rest of the team head to the ring through the audience and celebrate in the middle of the ring as the show comes to a close. As for my final thoughts, overall it was a good pay-per-view that saw 2 debuts and a lot of good in-ring action. For me, the world title match was the match of the night, closely followed by the women's title match. The debut of Lio Rush was disappointing, not only as I was hoping for Andrade, but because he didn't last long in the match at all. However, the victory for Jungle Boy did save the Battle Royal for me, as it's good to see him get a main event push going forward, as he's truly one of the future stars of AEW in my opinion. I'm personally not a fan of the Stadium Stampede concept, as it feels a bit all over the place and reminds me of the Money in the Bank match in Titan Towers, but the match ending in the ring was a nice touch, giving the crowd a live finish. With all that said, let me know what you thought of the show in the comments down below, and before you go, why not check out 10 AEW stars that wrestled at Wrestle Kingdom for New Japan Pro Wrestling.